We still do not know the source of the cholera outbreak that killed over 30 people and infected dozens others. Hammanskraal and Gauteng was the worst hit. Let's look at what can be done to ensure our water is safe for human consumption. To do this, I'm joined by Dr. Joe Barnes, an epidemiologist from Stellenbosch University. Dr. Joe, appreciate your time this afternoon. Now, based on your expertise, what are the major health risks associated with the combination of sewage pollution in streets and rivers and obviously contaminated drinking water?
Good afternoon to you and to everybody watching. Sewage carries a large number of infectious organisms. It's not only the diarrhea diseases of which cholera is by one. It carries infections of the nose and ear and throat and kidney diseases. In fact, the whole host of diseases can be carried by sewage. So it is a really risky substance, and I'm always been so sorry for the last almost 30 years about the slogan of water is life, but sanitation is dignity. You can drop your dignity in a crisis. Sanitation is not dignity. It is as much about health and survival as is water. But the two are very closely linked, because when you give any human being a liter of water in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, you're going to have almost a liter of dirty water to dispose of somewhere. So we seem to see these systems as not related. They are Siamese twins.
So we obviously find ourselves with a challenge on our hands, if you will. How do you see the relevant government departments dealing with the issues around cholera?
Any government on earth has a contract with the people in that country, whatever the style of government. And the people trust the government to be the managing organization, to do things on a large scale that each individual can't do for him or herself. But that contract doesn't only come from people who pay money for the government to do the job. It comes two ways. And at the moment, we're facing really the tipping point of so many of those jobs that are inherent in that contract. Transport, roads, clean water, sanitation, all those things are failing one after the other. And there's a knock-on effect, because when people get too ill to attend work regularly, the economy suffers. When the roads and transport are in poor condition, the economy suffers. And all the while, there's less and less money for the management, i.e. the government, to do their jobs. And I think the largest part of this is twofold, and that is a total lack of capacity and suitable skills in people who are supposed to actually, in the name of the government, do the job, and then almost a complete absence of accountability.
Dr. Joe, how worrisome is this? I'm going to read from what is called the Blue Drop Watch report, which provides a technical overview of the country's drinking water supply. And ahead of the Blue Drop Water Report 2023, which is expected to be published next month, of the 1,186 water supply systems in South Africa, the Watch report assessed 151. Of these, 77 are failing. Now, that's a little more than half.
Yes, but what you haven't mentioned is the Siamese twin on the other side. How many of the work that got to receive the dirty water, the sewerage, how many of them are functioning? And the one feeds into the other, because the sewage treatment works discharges supposedly clean, safe water into the nearest river. That is the upstream clean water of the next town. So we have sanitation failures everywhere, and I'm just so sad that there's this committee that's been appointed to find out how the cholera get into Hammanskraal, which is truly an inappropriate action. What they need to do is clean up Hammanskraal with the sewage running in the streets. All four hotspots where there have been cholera deaths and cholera cases in the country, those areas suffer seriously from failing sanitation works. But I don't hear a word about that. And the other problem I have that is really concerning me is that there seems to be no concentrated or concerted effort to teach the people in these areas what is an early warning system, how to increase resilience by knowledge, oral rehydration for the people, and how to clean the water, because suggesting that they boil it is nonsensical. With what power? So I'm worried that there are gaping holes in coping with this crisis, that public health seems to have taken a backseat in a more politically correct way to find out who brought it in here so that we can point fingers.
Now, Dr. Joe, do you think, in your opinion, that it is a case of lack of political will, or is it complete ineptitude? Do the people that should be addressing these issues know how to address them? Do they know what they should be doing? Because many conversations that we've had speak to the writing was on the wall 10 years ago that there was no capacity. Capacity has been diminishing for months.
I think it's a hot mess of both of those. And unfortunately, I know it's extremely unpopular, specifically for a woman to say, I told you so. But people have been... I forecast this in 1998. And I'm just so sorry that across the board, whether it's electricity or roads or whatever, there were people who warned and they were simply totally ignored. I don't know whether it actually comes down to what my grandmother used to say, it smells too much like work, or whether they haven't got the knowledge about it, but they ignore warning upon warning until the inevitable happens. So it's almost as if they need to see it for themselves before they believe. But by that time, the crisis is so bad that it is now very hard to salvage. And this is exactly what is happening here too.
Dr. Joe Barnes, epidemiologist at Stellenbosch University, appreciate your time this afternoon.